Hello, everyone. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most critical vulnerabilities on the web, SQL injection. To help demonstrate the real-world impact of these vulnerabilities, I'll be showing you a tool I've been developing called SQLi Dumper Gold. Remember, this is for educational purposes on my own test lab. Here's the main interface. The tool has several modules. First, it can use search engines to find potentially vulnerable sites for research. This is a technique security researchers use to understand the scale of a problem. More importantly, you can import your own list of URLs, which is what a pen tester would do for a specific client. For this demo, I've set up two deliberately vulnerable applications in PHP on my local machine using WAMP server, PHP, and MySQL. You can use DVWA or other vulnerable web applications. You can also find the link to all the sources in the description. Each web app is using its own database, so we can see the difference. Now let's copy the URLs that we want to scan and put them into a text file so we can import them to the tool. Of course, we can put more URLs if needed. Let's import the URLs into the tool. Now we'll run the scanner. The tool will start scanning and doing all the work automatically, and as you can see, it's quickly identified several SQLi. This is exactly the kind of automated testing that helps find flaws early. As you can see here, we have the two local labs, URLs, Lab 1 and Lab 2. This step is understanding what data is at risk. The tool allows us to explore the database structure and even dump data to generate reports. This is powerful for demonstrating the business impact to a client. I can export these findings in HTML or JSON or even SQLite to include in my penetration test report. Now we can start gathering information. For example, I can get the full info about the server, which is my local server running PHP 8 and MySQL 5.1. We can see the infected user I created for this lab. I can also get the databases. Done! This is the database of Lab 1. For each database, you have multiple options. We can get the database server hostname, enumerate users, get users' privileges and roles. Also, we can download the database in different formats, so we can use it in a report to the client, for example. Let's try to get the server hostname, for example, which is my local machine name. As you can see, here's the info. Let's get user privileges. Here are the user and his privileges. As you can see, it's very simple. In the next versions, we will add more functions to this list. Now let's simply get this database tables with a single click. Done. Here are the tables, and now we can get the columns and data from them. We can also run an SQL query on the table if the infected user is root. The tool has an integrated decryption and hash identification script. So if it detects a hashed password, it will try to identify it and decrypt it automatically using a list that we can change from options. Let's continue and get columns of table users, for example. And now let's get email, username, role, and password. In my local database, the passwords are hashed, and as I said before, it will detect them, and then it will start decrypting them using the list rocku that I edited in the options part. Of course, you can use any custom list you want. As you can see, it detects the hashes and it starts decryption. Now, the time needed depends always on a lot of things. The CPU and GPU you are using, also the RAM, and of course the list size. But with a normal PC, it will not take a lot. I will speed the video a little bit. And here you can see it shows the data in a table with decrypted passwords. And if it can't, the password will stay encrypted. And you have just to update your password text file list or get a new list from the open source security forums. The gathered data is saved automatically to prevent any loss of information. and you can go to the path with a simple click. Here you will find all data labeled with the name of the website to make it really simple to retrieve information. And of course, there are a lot of other options that we will explain in the next videos. So, as you can see, tools like this are vital for security professionals to automate and scale their testing efforts. The key takeaway is that these powers come with responsibility. Always test ethically and with permission. If you find a vulnerability in a system you don't own, practice responsible disclosure by informing the company's security team. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you are interested, feel free to visit our website or contact us. The links are in the description,